Hello, lovely souls. Welcome back to the Awakening to Your Soul Self podcast. I am so excited for this episode. I have Beth. She is a neuro-transformational life coach, and she's going to give us a little bit of a 101 on what neurotransformation is. Welcome, Beth.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. So I always like to start with you introducing yourself. So who are you and what do you do?
My name is Beth Iaciofano, and I'm a master neurotransformational life coach and intuitive medium as well. And what I do is I use both those skills with my clients to help them identify and clear limiting beliefs, patterns, and programming that's not working for them anymore. And I do this through the work of energy work. And I help them understand the power of the energetic vibration of our thoughts, emotions, and words to help them live the life that they really want to live. So in a nutshell, that's who I am and what I do.
Perfect. So I always like to ask our guests if you could give us a brief sneak peek into your spiritual awakening.
Okay, I have God, I think it really started when I had my daughter. She's 24 and she's got severe special needs. She's nonverbal.
Okay.
And I needed help. And
Mm,
I was going through I didn't have a good relationship with her father and my husband at the time. And so having a child with special needs just kind of added to the stress. And navigating being a parent of a child like that was tough.
mm,
So I started reaching out and started reading more. I started reading more books about energy, and I really came to be drawn to mediums. John Edward and
mm,
Sylvia Brown were my go-tos. Crossing over with John Edward was like life-changing for me.
mm.
That TV show that he did.
Yeah.
So I think over the years I started to listen to my inner knowing and started following my intuition when making decisions for my daughter and when making decisions for myself,
Mm,
and started realizing that it was working out. Like when I
mm.
followed my inner knowing and I started to see signs, like, butterflies appearing at weird times of a cold morning when you would never see a butterfly, because I was going through a hard time. And I
Yeah.
just started really tapping into energy, it all started with my inner knowing and tapping into that. I was like tangentially aware of my guides, but it was more really understanding that I could tap into my own inner knowing, and that would guide me. And that really has through all these years. And it's grown. I've picked up pieces of the puzzle along the way. I was a teacher for 17 years. I taught middle school science and used a lot of these tools with my students, like stress relieving tools and
Mm,
how their thoughts are important and how to pay attention to the way they were feeling. And so I've used all these things over the years. And then it came to really a spiritual head, so to speak, a few years ago when I took this class in energy. And these two women were amazing. And they kind of brought all the pieces that I had been collected and put them
yeah.
into a cohesive puzzle. And that's really the beginning of the culminating point, not the beginning, but the
Mm.
culminating point.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Energy is so powerful. Signs and messages are so powerful. Especially, I love when you said you were in the middle of the winter and you saw a butterfly. Like for me, that was almost like when my grandmother passed away 12 years ago. I wasn't really spiritually aware yet. 2 years ago, I had my spiritual awakening. And I just said, I just need a sign. And she sent me a cardinal in the middle of the winter when here in the Cape Cod, we don't normally see those. We normally
Mm-hmm.
see them like in the spring and summer. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because before I had my daughter, little things were happening. So I was definitely waking up and I was in tune with energy. I just wasn't really tapped in. Like I
Yes.
was aware of it, but I wasn't tapped into it. Like
Same.
when you just said that about your grandmother, I remember doing the same thing. I had cats when I lived in New Jersey with my husband at the time, and one of them was always running away. And I used to say a prayer, Grammy, can you please bring Shadow back? And no lie, like 5, 10 minutes later, he's at the back door. So
Wow.
I knew, like I knew that it was there, and I knew that I had access. Obviously, I in my inner knowing, my
Yeah.
soul knew. But my human form was starting to wake up. And I think the birth of my daughter is what really made me step into, okay, I really need to tap into this now because I need help. I didn't really, quote unquote, need the help before. It was always a nice thing, a cool thing that I would be able
Yeah.
to tap into. But I needed it. I needed the help. So it's interesting. And I was 31, 32 years old. And I'm told a lot that that's a very common age to be for the awakening to
Mhm.
happen in your low 30s. I wish it had happened earlier, but it wasn't meant to. So
Yeah. Yeah,
everything
that's
happens as it's supposed to when it's supposed to.
exactly. Yeah. So I just turned 30 this past September. So 2 years ago, I was 28, and I always said, "Why now?" And they
Mm.
said, "Because it wasn't time yet."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I give you, I mean, and everyone is where they are and where they're
Mm.
supposed to be. And I kind of had to let go of that. Oh, I wish I had done this earlier because I don't negate the 17 years that I spent as a teacher because I learned so much from my kids. And using all these tools prepared me for today, prepared me
Mm.
for the work that I'm doing now with people stepping into my mediumship and coaching in a way that I would not have been able to do if I hadn't spent those years teaching. And
Oh,
in
that's a
the
good point.
lab, I mean, this is my third iteration of myself. I was a lab tech right out of college, did that for 10 years, and then I did teaching for 17, and now I'm doing this. So, for the listeners, don't be afraid to step into something new. If you're not aligned with who you are anymore, then open up to what the possibilities are for what's in the next chapter of your life. That's the way I kind of looked at it. I didn't never felt like I was stuck. Oh, I have to do this one job my whole life. I never really felt like that. I
Mm.
did what felt right and what I needed to do at the time, I think. Now I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah,
So there's a big difference.
total big difference. So I'm really curious about neuro-transformational life coach. Can you give us like what is it? Like who do you help? And how do you help? I've never really tapped into that
Yeah,
aspect.
I thank you for asking that because it's different. Transformational coaching is different than a typical life coach. Because it's changing the way people think. It's helping the client see the world in a different perspective and
Mm.
find the answers that are within them. So I don't tell any of my clients what to do. I ask them a lot of questions and I have
Okay.
them think in a different way. And because if we think in the same way, we're not going to solve any problems. We're not going to come to the solution if we don't change our thinking. So asking a question in a different way just triggers your brain into a new pattern and it opens up a new pathway, so to speak. So I really help my clients identify and unpack those beliefs that aren't working for them anymore, that aren't serving them. And there's a lot of subconscious programming that's going on. And from society, from our heritage, from the way we grew up, all this that has kind of been placed on us, um, especially as women. So it's kind of untying the knot and unpacking and coming up with, okay, is this really my belief? I've carried this my whole life, but do I really believe that? And then having them say, okay, what do I believe? Because so many people
Yeah.
don't know. They don't even know what they believe because they've just been doing. And that was me for a long time. I just kind of fell into a pattern. And I played a role. I had a mask on and I played a role. And having my daughter was kind of like, wait a minute, what this doesn't work anymore. I need to figure out who I am as now this mother of this child. And then I had to figure out, okay, who I am aside from this mother with this daughter.
Mm.
So that's what I help my clients do. I help them learn to trust themselves because when you fall into patterns and you just keep repeating over and over and over again, you need help trusting that, okay, I can get out of this and I can actually trust myself. I help them trust their inner knowing.
Mm.
And I help them become aware. That's the number one step. Be aware of how you're feeling. are you aligned? If you're not aligned, like if it doesn't feel good, if something doesn't feel good, then you're out of alignment with your higher self and
Yeah.
your inner being. So I think as a transformational coach, I'm the guide from the side. I'm the
Mm,
person that's going to help them come up with the answers they already know. And it's so empowering, Christina, and I know because this work was done on me. All these techniques that I do, they were done on me. So I know how it feels to have that shift. And I know
yeah.
what it feels like to think in a different way. And like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. Okay. So it's extremely powerful to know that you have the control, that everything you need is within you. Everything you need is within you. You just have to trust that it's there. And for a lot of people, that's a hard thing because they've made
Yeah.
bad choices. So they don't understand. It's learning to trust. It's learning to trust yourself. It's learning to trust others. And trust yourself is number one, because if you do that, you're going to know when someone's not good for you. You're going to feel it and
Mm,
you're going to trust it and you're going to follow it. So I think that in the energy work really ties in beautifully with it, which is not what I learned through my coaching program. But that's like the trifecta for me because I've got my daughter who I tap into. I have the coaching and then I have the mediumship. So those three things are huge for helping my clients because I could just sit back and say, okay, if they say something and I'm like, all right, what do I ask now? I'll tap into my spirit guides.
yeah.
You guys need to help me. What question do I need to ask? And it comes out. So having
Mm,
a relationship with my guides now is it's life changing. I can't even really put words to that relationship that I've fostered and continue to foster every day through
yeah.
my mediumship and through the coaching.
Yeah. I mean, your spirit guides in general are just, how do I describe it? It's like a bond that you don't know that existed before. And they really help us trust ourselves.
Hmm.
So I love that you're really incorporating spirit guides within your work.
Yeah, I don't necessarily I tread lightly at the beginning when I start working with a new
Yeah.
client. I do have questions at the beginning and I will say, this is where I'm coming from, but I don't push any belief on anybody. And
Right.
I always invite, I'm always very aware that the last thing a client needs is to be told what to do.
Mm,
Because that's what they've probably been dealing with their whole life is being told what to do. So it's always an invitation. How does this feel in your body when I say that? Does this resonate with you? That kind of thing. And so for me, it's like a quiet tap into my guides.
yeah.
But I incorporate the science of energy with my clients and I explain what energy is to them in the scientific sense and how it works so that it's an easy transition to
Yeah.
if they're open and willing to go to the next step and okay, tap into your guides, teach them how to do that if they want to do that, if that's something that they're interested in doing. And I have one client that I know I don't go there with her, but
Mm,
she's okay with energy because she understands the science of it. So she understands that the thoughts that she puts out is what she's going to bring back. So it's a cool dance. Um, with different clients to just help them in whatever way they need and whatever serves them and supports them. But energy work for me is it's the foundation of
mm.
everything that I am and everything that I do.
I think in general, energy is just the foundation of life. I mean,
It is.
everything holds energy,
Yeah.
and that's why, scientists not discover, but like work on energy and talk about energy because it's the foundation of everything. I believe every word has energy, every object, everything has energy.
Well, yeah, and I just gave a workshop yesterday to a community of over 50. And I was talking about, it was thriving in their prime. And I was
Mm,
talking about energy and how everything in the universe is made of matter. So it's made of atoms, and atoms have electrons going around them. That's
yep.
energy. So I kind of always approach it in that way and then help them understand the different vibrations of energy with the
Mhm.
emotions. If you're feeling sad or shameful or guilty, those are low vibration, slow moving, heavy. So they
Yeah.
were really understanding um, how their thoughts and their words affect how they feel, which in turn affects their body. So it was really cool to see them, because when you get to be a certain age, you start worrying about the end of life. You start
Mhm.
worrying, you start feeling pain in your knees and places. You don't know that yet. You're going to get there. Um, so, your knees start bothering you more, and then you're worried about, being alone. And so there's a lot of worries that come with getting older, and having them understand the detriment that comes with worrying and how
Mm.
useless it really is, because but there's a reason for it, because we're trying to get ourselves ready and
Mm,
prepared in case, but it does the exact opposite. So, energy work, you're right. Energy is everywhere, but it's not incorporated enough in everyday conversations, in medicine, in schools. I mean, I was like a pioneer in my middle school because of the way I was teaching. It was emotion first. It was social emotional learning.
yeah.
And then I used my content, my science content, to kind of be the vehicle for teaching all these nice tools that they would need as adults. But it's not discussed nearly enough. It's not incorporated enough, but it's physics. It's physics, you know what I mean? It's so
Yeah.
I'm hoping that with the general awakening of our planet,
Yeah.
that it becomes more common for doctors to talk about and to be educated about energy work and the
Yeah.
power behind it, and use it together, not in lieu of, yeah, you need the medication, take the medication, but let's see how we can change our mindset, and
Mhm.
let's see how we can get aligned with our energy and clear the chakras and do all that in addition to, and boy, won't that be powerful,
So powerful.
you know?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started at this work, I was trying to explain uh, to a couple of friends, and they were like, "What do you mean, energies and everything?" And I was like, "Think about it. I mean, you got nature, you have animals, you have humans, but also like where you place certain things, like place a rock or you place a plant, that holds energy as well." And then I was like, think about it scientifically. Everything is energy. I mean, everything's made of atoms.
Hmm.
So that rock that you tossed has energy. You threw it. And then it clicks. So I think a lot of people that are starting to awaken or are trying to grasp the concept of energy need to think about it scientifically. Then I think it clicks a lot for
I think
people.
so too. And I think there's a lot. I really have found success in approaching it using my science teacher background, and teaching them about the science of it first, and then get into the metaphysical part of it. Because as human beings, we want to understand what words mean. So
Yeah.
a lot of people, when you say energy, they think of the lights. Well, yeah, that's energy, absolutely. It's ability to do work. So when you have electricity, that's energy. But where does the
Hmm.
energy come from? What actually is it? And how is it the same as me or this bottle of water or this crystal that I have? So what is the same there? So I think tapping into um what actually causes that energetic vibration, which is the atom and the electrons going around
Yeah.
it, is key, especially when we're talking about our bodies, because we're vibrating right now. We just don't feel it.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
vibrating at a high rate, and higher rate if we are feeling emotions that are good and happy and joyful, like I am right now because I'm excited to talk to you,
Yeah.
as opposed to, if I'm feeling sad or depressed or mad or fearful, those are low vibrations. So the cells in my body are moving slower, and the atoms are moving
Hmm.
slower, and there's hormones being released that are going to damage my cells. So I think understanding, and this is what I talked to my group about yesterday, is understanding the impact of those heavy emotions on our body. And it's okay to feel them, just don't sit in them for a prolonged period of time. So yeah, feel angry if you're angry, address it, release the energy from your body, get angry if you
Yep.
need, recognize where it's coming from, and then switch and say, okay, what would I rather feel? How would I rather feel? And that's the biggest thing with my clients, is making them aware at all times how they're feeling. Check in with yourself. How am I feeling right now? Am I feeling
Yep.
tightness in my chest? Do I have a headache? What's going on with my body? Because your body knows first.
Absolutely.
And then your brain will try to talk you out of whatever your body is trying to tell you, because of the beliefs that we have and the thoughts that we have and the programming that we have. So, okay, I'm feeling pain in my knee. Well, you got to get up and move because blah, 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 blah. When my body is saying, no, you need to sit and relax. But my
Yeah.
brain is saying, no, you're lazy
Yeah.
if you sit and relax because you've been told you've been lazy. So, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like it's a circle of chaos. So if we
Yeah.
can just pay attention to our body and then check in, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And then let me focus on what I'd rather feel and how I'd rather feel and what I can think about to get me to feel that way.
Yeah.
Awareness.
And oh, sorry to interrupt.
Mm-mm.
Spirit just brought through a memory of me being fearful for doing this work. And they said, write down why you're feeling fearful. And then they had me say, well, why do you feel that? And why do you? And then at the end, I was like, there's nothing to be fearful for. And I think that's what we need to start to do is check in with ourselves and kind of
Mm-hmm.
learn what high vibrational emotions feel like and what low vibrationals feel like.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard of eating foods, like try eating a piece of fruit versus junk food. How does that feel in your body? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's energy as well. What you're putting
Absolutely.
in is reproducing energy. So I'm just trying to give like listeners like some things to try if they've never really felt into their body. And I think,
Well, and even that's I love that idea, Christina, is something tangible, like, okay, eat something, eat two different things. Neither are bad, but they're different, and feel the effect on your body. And also just think about, like, say something mean, like, oh, think about someone say, oh, you're fat and ugly. How does that feel in your body coming
mhm,
out versus, wow, how beautiful? You know what I mean? So even
yeah,
pay attention to the thoughts about yourself. If you trip, oh, that was really stupid. How does that feel in your body versus, oh,
yeah,
I tripped. Okay. So I think just being aware, and we can all tap into it. It's a
yeah,
matter of calming the mind and decluttering the mind and silencing and learning how to tips to quieting the mind. I have that on my website as well. It's a freebie, because sometimes we just get so busy in our own head that we can't even tap into anything, never mind, how I'm feeling or how someone else is making me feel and why I'm feeling that way. It's overwhelming. But I think just paying attention to your words, is the first step in being aware
yeah,
of what you're thinking and what you're saying and how it makes you feel. Because if you don't feel good saying it, you're not in alignment.
yeah, yeah, that totally resonates. I mean, if you think about it, when you're talking to somebody that you're really looking forward to talking to and you're having this great conversation, that feels good. But if you're talking to somebody you kind of have conflict with, that doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then also, absolutely, but then lean into why it doesn't feel
Yeah.
well, especially if that's like because people are mirrors for us. So if we don't
Hmm.
like something about someone else, it's usually something about ourselves that we don't like, that we're not even probably aware of. And I know I did this work on my oldest sister. I did this shadow work on her because we've had a contemptuous relationship most of our lives. And I needed to look at myself and I needed to figure out, okay, what is it about her that I don't like, and how am I like that? And when
Hmm.
I did that, it was like, oh, okay. I was willing to take off the mask and look and say, okay, what is it about me that reminds me that I see in her? Like, what is it about me that I don't like that I see in her? And once I did that, the awareness was all I needed.
Yeah.
to come to a different place with her, really, because she just is who she is. I just need to worry about myself. Do I hang around with her? No. But can I be in the room with her? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, some people will make you feel uncomfortable. Their vibration is just at a different frequency than yours. If they're not bad, it's just different.
Yeah.
So, um, and sometimes we need to be around people who have a different vibration. We have to work with them. We're in the same family, whatever. But our
Mm,
core group, absolutely. Hang out with people who are a vibrational match. I
absolutely.
let go of everybody that wasn't a vibrational match. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
that I kicked them out. I just don't participate in the drama.
Yeah.
It's choice.
Absolutely. I mean, everything's a choice. I mean, God, universe, source gave us free will, and it's the greatest gift ever because we have the choice to either, be in the low vibrational state, high vibrational, be in these certain experiences.
Hmm.
Um, and everything's revolved around energy. I mean, period.
Hmm. Hard stuff.
So,
It really is. And once you recognize that, it's so powerful because I've come to the place where I used to that phrase positive thinking, just think
yeah.
positively. I used to live by that and I don't anymore. And the reason I don't is because for me, it had a connotation that if I'm having a negative thought, I need to just change it with a positive thought. And yeah, do that, but acknowledge the negative thought as well and where it's coming from. I think a lot of people have like their hands on the wheel so tight with positive thinking that they are pushing down stuff that needs to come up and out. So,
Yes.
because what happens energetically is if you say, okay, this is the life I want, let's just say I want a new car. I want a new car.
Hmm.
But then, so you're focused on that and you're saying, oh, the law of attraction says if I desire it, it's going to come. But it's not coming. Why isn't it coming? What do you mean? I want it.
Yeah.
But we don't realize that, yes, we're asking for it, but we're also telling ourselves, oh, I don't know how it's going to come. I don't know when it's going to come. I don't deserve it. How am I going to afford it? So our frequencies are different. So
Hmm.
what we need to do is stay in that high vibration frequency of happiness, joy, and love as much as we can
Yeah.
so that we can match the vibration of what we want. But pushing down emotion is not going to get you to the frequency that you want because it's still there. Those doubts and everything, all those beliefs, programs, and patterns are still there. And you don't know that they're there because you pushed them down so hard. So I tell my clients, yeah, I love that you're thinking positive, but I always frame it in think about what you desire. What do you desire? So feel what you need to feel. Feel the anger, feel the fear, feel the whatever that low vibration energy is. Acknowledge it. Yep, I see that you're there. I don't need you right now. I'm okay. I got this. And then you look towards what you want to create. So I think I just shifted the way I looked at positive thinking because for me alone, it meant pushing down, like pushing away
Hmm.
those negative thoughts and oh no, I'm only going to think positive things. Meanwhile, no, life is about ups and downs. We go
Yeah.
through that map of consciousness all day. We go from low vibration to high vibration, anywhere in between. We can't get rid of those low emotions. We don't want to. They're
Right.
important. Fear is important. It's a protector. What happens is that when we feel it too much, we let it control our life, then it's not helpful. Fear is a very important emotion. Anger is an important emotion. It can get you motivated to do something if you're angry about something. It can be a motivator. So I also got rid of the bad emotion thing. It's no emotion is bad. Some of them are harmful if we sit in them for too long. That's the difference. Because then you also brings the connotation like, oh, I'm a bad person if I'm feeling fearful or if I'm feeling angry. No, you're a human being.
Hmm.
So recognize why you're feeling that fear or that anger understand why you're feeling it. And if it's something needs to be cleared, then you clear it. If not, if
Yeah.
it's a motivator, say, okay, let's get to work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And what's really important is I find that if we push down these emotions too long, they
Hmm.
start to creep back up.
Oh, yeah. And you have
Um,
negative effects on your health.
yeah, exactly. That's where I was getting to
Yeah.
is then you'll find uh, your body hurting in a certain spot for some reason, or you're finding yourself you're getting headaches too long. Like when I find myself in a low vibrational state, sometimes I'll get these headaches. And I'm like, all right, why do I have this headache? And I go through like the logical things. Did I drink water today? Did I eat? And then if I say yes to those things, then I'm like, all right, what's going in my on in my body energetically? Is it
Hmm.
emotion that I haven't discussed? Is it something with my inner child? Is it something one of my chakras need to be cleared? Like not everybody goes through all those questions, but I think that we have to talk about these emotions. Spirit's bringing through a clip of Inside Out. I don't know if you've seen that children's movie. It's about the
Hmm.
emotions. And if you haven't seen it, um, just about, the five or six core emotions and the difference between them all, but they all are needed within each other to be that person.
Hmm. Yeah, every single emotion is important. It serves a function.
Yeah,
It's just understanding when to feel it and when it's serving you. When is this supporting you and when is it not? And I think recognizing that, and you were saying how you go through your little questions, like if you're feeling something, and it sounds exhausting to someone who doesn't understand and isn't on that path, but it actually isn't exhausting, and it's rather quick. Like I know
yeah,
for myself, if I feel an emotion, I'm like, all right, what's that coming from? If someone says something to me and it triggers me, I'm like, all right, this is about me because they don't control my emotions, I do. So if I respond in a certain way to what someone else says, that's about what's happening in me. So I can quickly figure out, okay, first of all, is this my energy that I'm feeling, or am I getting it from somebody else? Because I can pull on other people's
yeah,
emotions. So I figure that out. Is it actually my emotion if I'm in a mood? Or what did they say and why did it bother me? And then I can figure that out quickly. And then I'll turn to, okay, well, doesn't really matter. Let me focus on what I want to focus on then. So once you get used to it, it goes very quickly. You can cycle through those emotions really quick. It's not
yeah,
like, because it can sound daunting to someone like, all right, I had to figure
yes,
out this now. I got to pull it apart. No, it's really quick once you learn how to do it. And you're just so used to feeling your body. Like
yeah,
this was not me a year ago. I remember when I first started learning to do the exercises for my coaching. A lot of it is how does it feel in your body? Um, it's constantly tapping in, and I'm like, I don't know how it feels, and it's like, what's the color of the emotion, and what does it look like? I had no idea. I had no clue what that
yeah,
meant. I had to learn. I started to learn, oh, okay, let me stop for a second and like literally say something. Do I feel something in my body? Is there a tightness somewhere? Is there an ache somewhere? Does my stomach feel sick? Like, what do you feel in your body? Um, so it's taken me, a year or so to really get good at identifying when something doesn't feel right and figuring out what it is because I
yeah.
had so many emotions packed down that I was not releasing. I had so much crap that was just, beliefs and patterns and programs that weren't serving me that I just didn't even know were there or I just ignored.
Hmm.
And once I started pulling them up, yeah, it was hard work at the beginning, but boy, the payout was huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, we definitely want to reiterate that it sounds daunting, but when you work on it, I'm still working on it. I don't ask these questions every time have a headache. Let's be honest. Sometimes I just have a headache and it is what it is, and I got to continue working.
Mhm.
But sometimes when I can get quiet with myself and be like, all right, what's actually going on? And sometimes I'm not quiet for very long, because sometimes my headaches are during work and I can't sit there for 5, 10 minutes and be like, all right, what's going on? Sometimes I'm getting called to a classroom or I'm getting, an email that I have to answer. So don't feel like you need to address something right away
Mhm.
because you don't have the time.
Yeah, I mean, life takes over. We're
Yeah.
human beings and we have to live our lives. But I think just tapping in,
Yeah.
just start there. Start with being aware of the effect that your thoughts and your words have on your body and how you're responding to other people. Like who's triggering you? Like they're a lesson.
Mm,
There's someone that's been put in your life for a reason. We don't
yeah.
necessarily think we want them there, but they're an important teacher
Mm-hmm.
because they're helping us see the parts of ourselves that, excuse me, that we don't want to see.
Yeah.
If you're with people that are just like you, that are vibrational matches, then there's no conflict and it's easy
Yeah.
breezy, that's the point I'm at in my life. I'm not going to lie. I like that part. I mean, I did
Mm-hmm.
the other living with someone that was my opposite. I did that for a long time. And I like the easy breezy. I'm
Mm.
not going to lie.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm aware enough to know that there's lots of different people that come into my life, and I know how to deal with them much better than I did because of this knowing of energy and understanding that they are just who they are and they're who they came in to be. They came in
Yeah.
for a specific reason to do specific things and learn lessons. So
Ab- Absolutely. So we have another like 20, 25 minutes left to this episode. I was curious if you could give us like a mini energy one-on-one for people who know absolutely nothing about energy.
we already started it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
energy is, in the scientific sense, it's the ability to do work. And we as human beings have learned how to change energy. So we take energy from the sun and we can turn it into powering our house. We have solar panels. We can power our house with that energy from the sun. So we've learned how to transform it. So in the cells of our body, their energy. If you look at an EEG of your brain, that's a scan of your brain, you will see neurons communicating with each other. They're firing. It actually looks like a firestorm. That's energy. So understanding how our cells um, collectively work
Mm-hmm.
through energy is really important. Yeah, they produce energy, right? We take glucose that we eat and we transform that, our cells transform that into energy to do work. We can use our muscles. So we're constantly transforming energy. And when you think about metaphysical energy now, you think about like attracting like. So when you have a thought, that thought is a vibration, the same way as the rays from the sun have a wavelength and a frequency, so do your thoughts. They have a frequency, they have a vibration. So for the listener, if you've ever gotten a phone call or thought about someone and then they call, that is energy. It's an energetic connection because you're thinking about them and the phone rings. It happens with me and my husband all the time. It also happens with my husband and his mother. He will know when
Wow.
she's going through a hard time and he'll call her and she said, oh, I was just thinking about you. So if you've ever had that, oh, I was just thinking about you when someone calls or someone texts you, we don't really call
Yeah.
it much anymore, but if you get a text from someone and you were just thinking about them, that's energy. That's a way of communicating. So for me as a medium, I use energy to communicate from different dimensions. So I'll take energy that has passed, spirit
Mm-hmm.
that has passed. They will lower their energetic vibration and I will raise mine in
Yeah.
order to communicate with them and pass on messages. So that's a way of transforming energy, of connecting. Energy, you can connect with others through energy, and like attracts like. So if you have a thought, let's say you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, this is just going to be a bad day because you woke up late, your alarm didn't go off, you get out of bed and you trip, and you say to yourself, oh my God, this is going to be a horrible day. Those thoughts have a vibration. They have an energetic vibration, and you're putting them out into the universe. So you are going to collect you're going to collect evidence to support that vibration. So you might drop a bowl of cereal, or you might get in the car and you hit traffic and you hit a stoplight. All these things, you're like, see, I told you it was going to be a bad day. So you are basically creating your life with your
Yeah.
thoughts. You're creating your life with your thoughts, because like attracts like when it comes to energy. It's like magnets. And I always tell my
Mhm.
clients, like if I was holding a pen and I let go of it, what would happen? And they say, well, it would drop. Well, why would it drop? Because of gravity. And I would say, well, can you see gravity? Like, no, you can see the effect of it, but you can't see it. Energy is the same
Mhm.
thing. You can't see energy, but you can see the effect of it. You can feel the effect of it. If you've ever been in the presence of someone that made you feel uncomfortable, that's because of energy. You're vibrating at a different frequency. People who have live in, primarily, not always, because we always go through different emotions, but when you're living in high vibration, joy, happiness, peace, calm, those are high vibration emotions. That's what you are going to pull in. And here's the thing for the listener: money is energy, and
Yeah.
money has a vibration that is equal to joy and love. So when you are feeling those emotions and you are living in those emotions, you are going to pull in whatever is matching that vibration,
Mm.
as opposed to the lower vibration. When you're living in, we can all relate to this. When we're living in when we're sad, we're depressed, we're angry, we're fearful, we attract more of that to us. We're not even able to see the other vibrations because we're attracting the same.
Mhm.
So the foundation of energy is that everything in the universe is made of matter. Matter is made up of atoms, and atoms join together into molecules and compounds, but those atoms have something called electrons that are going around them. And that's the energy, that's that vibration, and they're moving really, really quick. So when we have emotions that are low vibration, how it affects our body is that our brain responds to that low vibration by releasing hormones. Cortisol is one of the main ones, and that damages our cells.
Yeah.
So those low vibration emotions actually cause damage to our body. When we end up getting cancer, we have knee problems, we have headaches, we have back problems. Anything that's chronic, there's an energetic connection. Especially triggers me when the doctors can't figure out what it is.
Yes.
Energetic work is so, so important. And there is a place for medicine. There absolutely is. But the energy work is so important too, because we have energy pathways in our body. The same way we have blood vessels that bring blood through our whole body, we have energetic pathways as well that can get clogged. And when there is a clog, that's going to cause a disruption in our body, a dis-ease.
Mhm.
So it's important to recognize the power of the brain. I've heard of people that have convinced themselves that they are pregnant. They're not pregnant, but they've actually convinced themselves, they've shown growth. Their body is actually like, I mean,
Wow.
yes, people have convinced themselves. You can convince yourself of it. Are you really going to have a baby? No, but you feel the effects of it. You get nauseous, you get morning sickness. Um, so energy, understanding how we are all energetic beings, everything in the universe. You tapped on this earlier. Everything in the universe is energy. The trees are energy. I look at the trees in a different way now. They are energy. Can I talk to them? Not the way I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
but they have energy flowing through them. The water gets up and down, the xylem and the phloem, and it's amazing how trees work. They go through dormant periods, and so everything is vibration. Animals, vibration. Rock, like you said, rocks. That's why I don't know if anybody that's listening likes crystals, but I have two different ones here, and they have different vibrations.
Hmm.
And some people are extremely sensitive to like I just got a tingling down my left leg just by holding this. I am incredibly sensitive to the vibration of crystals. And I used to have my students, I had a bunch of different crystals that I would allow them to use during class. They would be able to
Yeah.
hold them. And some of them really took to them because it helped them. And what it does is it matches your energy. You just go and choose. I told them, just go choose the one that speaks to you. That's the
Yeah.
one you need. That's what you need. And that your inner knowing is going to know. Your inner self is going to know what you need. So just choose the one that speaks to you and hold it and see what happens. See if you can feel a vibration. Some of them I do, some of them I don't.
Same.
Um, so I think understanding understanding that everything is made of energy and that our thoughts, our emotions, and our words are also energy. What we put out, we get back. That's the biggest, those two pieces of information, I think, for Energy 101
Yeah.
are the most crucial. That everything is energy and we communicate energetically. We don't need to say anything. Look at the animals. Animals
No.
communicate through their body language, through energy. I trust a dog to tell me when a human being is not sound
Hmm.
more than I trust myself at this point. And I trust myself a whole heck of a lot now. But
Right.
I will trust my three dogs in a heartbeat because they know and they feel energy.
Mm.
They don't have language. Language
Yeah.
gets in our way.
Yes. Language
So
gets in our way, society gets in our way.
yeah, all the programs, the
Yeah.
societal programs, the limiting beliefs that we have, they all contribute to who we are. And doing energy work and understanding how powerful we are and how much control we do have over our own life, not over someone else's. And that's part of our beliefs, unpacking those limiting beliefs that are the programming that we need to be saving other people. Oh, I need to fix this. We have people that are fixers. They want to fix problems. It's not your problem to fix. You're
Yeah.
you're taking someone else's lesson away if you're fixing it for them. And guess what? The same thing's going to keep happening to them until they learn it on their own. So as a
Yeah.
parent, especially a parent as a special needs child, that was a hard lesson to learn, especially with one with the needs that she has, and she's nonverbal.
Yeah.
So, I worried about something happening to her. And I had to deal with that very early on. That when she wasn't with me, I had to trust the people that she was with that they weren't going to hurt her
Yeah.
because she couldn't tell me if they would, you know? So, but now at this age, I know that she's got her own path, her own lessons to learn. If something happens to her when she's not in my presence, that's her path. I can't
Yeah.
I can't control, nor is it my right to control her life. And that's important for
Exactly.
parents out there to understand that it's tough because you want to protect your children. And you do, you support, you protect as much as you can, but then you let them go. And the best gift you can give them is having them understand this. I wish this was taught in school.
Hmm.
The conversation we're having right now, I wish that were taught in school, like
Yes.
globally accepted to have this conversation. Oh my gosh, how great
Yeah.
would that be?
That'd be amazing. And I love that you gave your students crystals to feel what calls to them to, so you're kind of like teaching them on down low,
Energy.
like
Oh, definitely was on
energy,
the down low. Yes, it definitely was.
energy,
Yes.
intuition,
Yep.
because you're
Mhm.
like, all right, pick one, whatever calls to you. And they don't know that they're learning how to use their intuition or learning
Yep.
how to feel energy.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
that's
all the
really
stuff that I
special.
did, the stress relieving, there's also a lot of stress relieving tools. I had the worry stones, I had glitter jars, and stress balls and
Mm,
yoga balls for the kids that had a lot of energy. So I definitely had different outlets for them. And just to teach them how to handle their stress and their
yeah.
emotion and the test anxiety. And I had so many kids with
Yes.
anxiety. So breathing techniques were huge. I taught them 4-7-8, and some kids I taught tapping. I taught EFT to some kids that were open to learning how to tap
Oh,
and
wow.
move that energy through their body. So yeah, some of them were real sponges for this work. They really, really were. And I had the blessing of administration because it's not religious. I wasn't hitting on spirituality, none of that. It was just
Yeah.
energy. It was just talking about energy and how you can move the energy through your body. So how is that any different than talking about the circulatory system and how the
Yeah.
blood moves through the body? You know? So, and I was doing something different and it was helping. The tools my kids learned are tools that they would use for life, not just in school, but for life.
Yeah.
So, I kind of been doing energy work for a long time, just not
Yeah.
in the way I'm doing it now. It's culminating. It's come to a whole new great level now but that was important when I said at the beginning, like I wouldn't negate all those years that I taught because boy, I learned a lot from those years. And they really prepared me for my life now.
Yeah. And we all have, divine path, and we need to do certain things to get to a certain point.
Hmm.
And that was yours, you needed to be the teacher for so long so you could gain all that knowledge to be a coach now.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Christina, too, because I think, and I am definitely guilty of this. When I get a thought in my head of what I want to get there now.
Yes, me
And
too.
I had to stop and understand that no, there's a process, and I have to get to step A, and I have to expand through step A, then go to step B and expand through step B. So, because if I was
Mhm.
able to jump from A to Z, I wouldn't know what to do by the time I got to Z. I would fail because I wasn't prepared for it. So understanding that what I'm doing right now is laying the foundation for where I'm meant to be and where I'm meant to go. And I'm just enjoying the
Mhm.
process. We don't do that enough. We don't enjoy the process. We think we want to get somewhere,
Yeah.
but the getting somewhere, you got to enjoy the path to get there because then once you get there, guess what? There's somewhere else you want to go.
Hmm.
So part of my growth was understanding that and letting go and releasing, needing to know when, where, how.
Yeah.
When it's going to happen, how is it going to happen, what's going to happen when I get there. I just trust, I blindly trust the universe, God, my guides. I can't even say enough about my guides. I thank them every night when I journal. um and when I don't, the nights that I don't journal, I thank them in my head when I'm in bed
Hmm.
because I just blindly trust because I've seen what happens when I do. Beautiful
Yeah.
things happen when I just trust.
Yeah. Trust is very hard. It took me a long time to trust my guides, but now I want people to know like you're not alone. Everybody has guides. Everybody's got a team supporting them. And when you were talking about, laying the foundation, Spirit was showing me basically like a staircase. So you lay the foundation for this first step in your life, then you can build and go to the second foundation.
Mhm.
So that's why, you had to go through the lab tech, and then you were a teacher and intuitive medium, and now you're doing the coaching. Like those were all steps that you built foundation for.
Yeah, and you know what too, when I look back on it, part of the reason is that I can help my clients understand that they can do something different.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not that we have just one, and for some it might be fine. If you feel like you are where you're meant to be, if you are fully aligned and happy and joyful with what you're doing, then that's perfect. And if that's the case for 42 years in one job, that's what you were meant to do.
Yeah.
But for others, there's for me especially, there were specific things at specific times of my life that I was happy to leave. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I learned what I needed to learn there. Now I need to do this. I
Yeah.
needed to become a teacher because I had to have a good job, a consistent job with insurance, and I needed to have the time off that my daughter had. So
Yeah.
that fell into my lap. I needed it at that time. Um, and it served a tremendous purpose. So I think for me, my experience helps with my clients, the ones
Yeah.
that are afraid to step out of what they've been doing. They're afraid to get out of that dirty diaper that they've been in their whole life
Mm-hmm.
and get clean and unpack and know that they can change and know that they can tap into. But it's fierce, Christina. So many people are so
Yeah.
afraid. They're like, I don't, and that was me. I
Yeah.
stayed in
That's
that
still
job.
me.
Yeah, and it's human. It's a human experience. It's the human experience to be afraid of the unknown. Um,
Yes.
and I would not be saying what I'm saying right now if it were a year and a half ago. I would not. I know I wouldn't. But I am excited for the unknown now. And I never in my life have been excited for the unknown. Never. I've always
Yeah.
been like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I have the good job. I have the insurance, blah, blah, blah. I'm good at my job. I'm
Mm-hmm.
in school. I'm liked. My administrators, my colleagues, I had everything going on.
Yeah.
I just wasn't being fulfilled by the job itself anymore because I knew my inner self was screaming,
Yeah.
get out. You're not meant to do this anymore. And I ignored it for a good 3 years. And I just
Mm.
kept doing it and doing it and doing it. I took a different job thinking, oh, that'll be it. Nope, that wasn't it. I was meant to be out. So I think the stuff I've gone through is a good way for me to connect with my clients as
Yeah.
well. So that's another reason why you at a young age came into this. But me, it wasn't until I was in my 50s that I really understood all this and took this change. So
Yeah. Well, Beth, thank you so much. I want to have you tell people where they can find you. So website, social media, and then any offerings that you have available.
yeah, my website is riseuptotransform.com. And on there at the very top, you'll see a freebie, and that's tips to quieting the mind. And understanding how to quiet your mind is crucial for being able to tap into yourself, your own inner knowing. I'm on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook as much anymore, but I am on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. But my website is primary because if you want to have a reading,
Yeah.
a mediumship reading, you can schedule through my website. If you want to schedule a consultation for coaching, getting to know you call, you can do that through the website as well. And my podcast is also on the website. There's a link to it. The Hats We Wear is my podcast. So yeah, all my good things are, and any workshops coming up, I post on my website. So riseuptotransform.com is the catch-all.
Perfect, Beth. Thank you so much. I love this conversation.
Thank you, Christina, for having me. I really had fun.
Perfect. Everybody, we'll see you next week.